Hey y'all, it's time for another video about new makeup releases. And two things before we start, this eye look, I know. I just filmed for the first time with the Club Nebula palette, which is Angie's collab with Kaleidos. It's so beautiful. She did such an exquisite job, and I'm not gonna gush right now because I gushed in the video. I mean, like, it's a little bit embarrassing actually. It's just like an entire video of me being like, my friend is a genius, eat it. Second thing, it's gonna be a noisy one. There's just lots going on in the house right now. For some reason, I can't convince the 3 other adults and 1 baby who live with me to be completely silent while I film hours and hours of YouTube videos every week, but I'm sure that we'll all be fine. If this is your first time to my channel, hi, my name's Hannah. I love beautiful things. I really love using what I already own, and I also really like paying attention to what's going on in the industry, trends, new releases, and, you know, in many cases, roasting them for not being good enough, especially today, because I think that the thing about Angie's collab with Kaleidos that really got me going is how innovative it is in terms of like the color story, how useful it is, how it just keeps providing more and more and more. And it makes me feel like everything else on the market is like, you know, subpar. So I feel like today, having just applied this palette to my eyes, it's gonna be hard not to compare everything to it, but we'll see how I do. And the other thing that's interesting is that I haven't looked at trend mood in weeks. I've been like under a rock. I've been distracted. I have no idea what's new to the market. I haven't been really watching YouTube, and I haven't watched anyone's new makeup releases. And I also haven't prepped for the video. So this is gonna be one of those ones where we're discovering it together. Like, you're gonna see me reacting in real time to everything that's new to the market right now. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Before we start, I'm gonna give you a close-up of the eye look because I'm really proud of Angie and I'm really proud of myself. And I think that this video will probably go up before the Club Nebula palette review, and I just can't wait that long for you to see it. Wait, my eyebrow. I know. Okay, we're gonna go from the top down, so in reverse chronological order, just because that's how I would be doing it if I were just browsing by myself. I'm gonna kind of go through everything. Okay, new trend mood box, full of stuff from One Size by Patrick Starr, couldn't care less. Available now at Ultra Mented. Is this a new brand? It looks like the most boring new brand ever. They're giving us nothing that we haven't already seen. Charlotte Tilbury has released a new skincare product. It looks like a peel mask. Here's the thing. This is gonna be kind of like a hot takes video. Well, wait, I shouldn't say things that I don't know what they mean from social media. I'm not sure I entirely know what hot takes means. I mean, does it mean unpopular opinions? I feel like hot takes to me, it kind of means like real quick. Like, I'm just gonna be like, here's how I feel about this. Here's how I feel about this. Hot takes. But I feel like hot takes actually means that everyone's gonna be like, what? You think that? Escandalo. And then they're like getting hot. Like, they're hot, they're spicy about it. I don't know. All I'm saying is I'm gonna go through really quickly and be like, here's how I feel, here's how I feel. Here's how I feel about Charlotte Tilbury skincare. She's already pushing it with her branding, selling makeup in the way that she does, where she's like magic everything. Like, her branding is very like miracle cream, like miracle thing. And I feel like with the makeup, I can kind of overlook it because it's so beautiful and the packaging's so beautiful. So when she's like, it's a miracle, I'm like, okay, LOL, we can be in it together and we can enjoy this kind of way in which you talk about your stuff. But then when it's skincare, it's like, but is it magic, Charlotte? But is it a 2-in-1 miracle facial in a tube? But is it a miracle? And it's also probably really expensive, and you don't have to pay top dollar for a really good AHA resurfacing mask. You just don't. There's some candles from a brand I've never heard of where they're pink and purple. We're gonna skip that. There's a new Real Techniques brushes that looks pretty. I kind of like this gold ferrule and very pink brush situation. That's cute. If I were Real Techniques and I were trying to design like a February brush release and I wanted it to be really aesthetically pleasing and I were playing with combinations of the colors of the handles and the colors of the brushes, I might very well settle on this. I understand why they did it. I personally don't need any new brushes. I'm not in the market. But if I were and I was looking for synthetic drugstore price brushes, Real Techniques is kind of at the top of the pile. Okay, here we go. Here we go with an eyeshadow palette that, who did it? Oh, this is the Byredo. It's this like haute brand, scent brand, and they started coming out with makeup and it had all those funny shapes. And that was fine. I almost did a self-sponsored review of it, but then I felt like there wasn't enough general interest in the community. I was kind of interested in it. I actually went so far as to try to figure out what I would pick and what I would put in my cart to review. And that thing happened that also happened for me with Rare Beauty, where I was like, I like the idea of reviewing the brand. I like the idea of, you know, getting into it and being able to talk to you guys about it. But then when it came down to it, there wasn't like a single item in each category that felt like the right one for me. And so my excitement about reviewing it kind of fizzled out. The reason I was saying here we go, is because I was looking at this palette and I was like, okay, they've tried to make an eyeshadow palette. It looks like it's all pretty much either one texture or just two textures. Actually, I think it might just be one texture. It says dense color with a rich metallic texture when wet. I like all shine palettes, all shimmer eye looks, so I don't personally have a problem with that, but this is a lot of shades to be offering in one palette with all of them the same texture. Like that's kind of a lot. So we only have one texture. And then tonally, even though they're providing us a lot of colors, tonally, they're all kind of living in on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? It's one of these palettes where if you put it in black and white, you'd barely be able to distinguish between the shades. So there's some range in terms of the actual color shades that you have, but there's not that much range in terms of tone, like lightness to darkness. That's a problem when you're actually trying to construct eye looks. And the reason that I was saying here you go, I know I keep saying here's the reason I was saying here you go, and then not telling the reason I keep saying here you go. This is the quintessential thing where I'm like, why didn't you hire Angie? I'm like, why didn't you hire Angie? Because she's got all the textures. She's got light to dark. She's got sheer to totally opaque, like all of the diversity. And the color story is not that different, right? Like the greens, the blues, the peaches, the navy, like there's a lot of the same of what's in here in this Byredo release. Like they're sort of trying to do something similar in terms of the actual colors that they feel like are on trend. But just in terms of the practical application, how much you're gonna be able to get out of it, they failed almost all across the board compared to what I just experienced in reviewing Angie's palette. So it's fine. But, you know, I'm not interested in buying this for $100. e.l.f. is on the Lunar New Year train. You know, I've been impressed by a couple of the things I've tried from e.l.f. recently. I love that lip and cheek palette so much. And I also really like the Sheer Slick lipstick in Golden Pear. Let's see what these products are. Is it just Lunar New Year branding, but it's the same products? I think that might be the case. So one of them, it's like the priming putty, but with a brush. The Sweetheart Hydrating Lipstick. Is that just the Sheer Slick lipstick rebranded? Maybe. Wow, look at this beautiful deep blush and bronzer from Ofra. And a liquid blush. Ofra came out with a liquid blush. I'm following its future career with great interest. Okay, I see you. This is a very beautiful release. So they've released a blush and bronzer duo in 3 different shades, and then they've released a liquid blush with each one of them. And the deepest one is like really rich and deep. I wish the liquid blush of the lightest shade weren't so pink, weren't so cool toned. I wish it was like more of a neutral, but overall, this is stunning. Whoa, this isn't the first time I'm seeing this. I saw it on Instagram briefly this morning when I was scrolling. So I did have like a moment to, gosh, did I even react? I feel like my feeling was no feeling. And I think they might be sending this to me. I'm not entirely sure. They sent me one of those little like, do you want something? We're not telling you what it is emails. And I was like, yes. So this is probably what it is. If it comes, I'll totally review it. I mean, the last time that happened with Urban Decay, no, the last time it happened with the Naked line was when they sent me the Naked Ultraviolet. And that was like one of the most scathing reviews I've ever created. So it really says something about them that they're considering sending this to me after that. I mean, they're probably not even paying attention to what I do. Who am I kidding? I'm just me and their Urban Decay. But you know I'll give you the tea if they actually send this to me. So let's just pretend that the quality is great, because that was the issue with Naked Ultraviolet. I mean, there was the weak tea argument that it was supposed to be unpigmented because it was naked. But, you know, let's pretend for a moment that I'm gonna get this palette in PR and that the pigment's gonna be just exquisite. Like, it's gonna be really, really beautifully balanced, soft, creamy, and then the metallics are gonna be really lovely and metallic. Let's pretend that, and let's just talk about the color story. It's fine. I'm very tempted to once again compare it to the Club Nebula palette, but I know that if I keep doing that, it's gonna get old really fast in this video. But I will just say that another thing that I really like about it, that I said in the review video that has yet to go up on YouTube, is that it's not a one-trick pony. Even though you can make monochromatic looks with it, it's not a one-trick pony. This is kind of a one-trick pony, right? We've got the idea of pale neutrals, whether it's more taupe or more sandy or more gold or more slightly like whitish silver. We've got the idea of these sort of like pale sandy neutrals. And then we've got the idea of blue. And I guess that there's then also a red. So in theory, you could make a look that had like a cinnamon leaning shade in it, deepening it up, but that didn't have any blue in it. And then in theory, you could also make these like blue and green looks. So in that way, it's like a two-trick pony, I guess. It's like a two-trick pony. But I feel like you need more than two tricks these days to win the pony show. Moving on. What is ColourPop doing? Swag. I mean, I know ColourPop is cheapy peepy, but this looks cheapy peepy to me. What they do doesn't always look cheapy peepy. In fact, it usually looks kind of luxe, especially for the price point. These look like really like kids makeup. I feel like there probably is a way to do Candy Hearts inspired and Valentine's Day inspired makeup without it looking like it's for actual very young children, like literal babies, like infants. And I feel like they didn't do that this time. They made it look like it's for infants. Kind of not interested in this. I'm just not gonna talk about this body oil. It's fine. Beauty blender setting powder. Not really interested. I do kind of use powder. When I break out, that's when I kind of reach for my powder and I use it to set my products, like my concealing products, like spot concealing, because it sort of diffuses the look. It looks oh my God, I need a moment. It makes it less apparent where I'm blending the spot concealer into my complexion. You know, it kind of diffuses that. But I just feel like you only just need a powder. Like you just need a powder. It doesn't need to be like this thing, and you just need to be like, you have a bunch of different kinds for different things. Maybe I'm just not sophisticated in the ways of powder. Maybe I'm just not a powder connoisseur. In fact, I'll tell you, I'm not a powder connoisseur. But my feeling is kind of like a decent powder is a decent powder. Like you don't need not a bad powder. Bad powder is bad. But once you have one good powder that works for powdering, why do you need more? Beauty blender. I said I was just gonna go through one by one, but I'm skipping some stuff. Like I'm skipping the thing about MAC loyalty points. We don't need to know that. A new hair care brand, Anomaly. Skipping it. Minis of Kylie skin products. You know what? If anybody ever gave me this set of minis of Kylie skin products, I would give them all away without trying them, because it's such a tiny amount of product and so much little packaging, so much packaging per product per square millimeter. And the products are like not, there's no great shakes. You know what I mean? It's the same combinations of like oils and powders and creams and mix-ins and foaming agents and stripping agents that all the skincare has. All right, here we go. This is Too Faced. This is the possessive form of the brand Too Faced. Too Faced Valentine's Day release. Oh no, it's P. Louise. Whoa, this is what we gain from having my first impressions be recorded on camera. I thought for all the world that this was Too Faced. Just looking at the color stories, which are kind kind of boring. And the packaging and the theming, right? This looks very Too Faced. Is P. Louise trying to be the next Too Faced? My conspiracy, allegedly. Here's what I'll say. This is my predominant impression of this. The finger swatches look extremely pigmented and juicy, and it makes me feel things about the formula. But I don't feel those same feelings about the packaging and the hook, you know what I mean? The theming and the color stories. ColourPop X Animal Crossing. What have people been saying about this? Is it like, are people really excited? I've never played Animal Crossing, but I might be playing it soon for the first time. I might be trying it. And I actually don't really know anything about it except that there's a raccoon and there are islands and animals. That's it. That's the breadth of my knowledge about Animal Crossing. So obviously this does not get me in the feels in any personal way. And color-wise, it's like a total pass. I couldn't care less. We're skipping it. Milk has re-revealed their Sunshine Tint with a new formula. I've always been kind of interested in it. Basically for me, I'm trying to let my real skin shine through wherever possible. And then if I have to cover something like a blemish, I'm really going in with like a full coverage spot concealer and covering it. So this kind of in-between product, I don't know. It's a quintessential thing that I like the idea of, but I've never allowed myself to get tricked into buying it, because when I actually think it through, I realize that I just like the idea and that practically it wouldn't fit in my routine. If you think I'm wrong, ew, and look at the swatches. The fairest shade is very pink and a little bit dark. That would be another issue. Man, everybody's making makeup for infants. Like, look at the Natasha Denona Valentine's Day. It feels like all the Valentine's Day releases this year are really going in the like child chintz direction. It's like baby makeup chic, infant makeup glam. It's like, is it a makeup or is it a candy? Gosh, I feel like it's the worst when it comes to color. Like the packaging is whatever, like silly packaging, whatever. I know some people really like those kinds of things, like cutesy packaging. And so I can't begrudge the people who like it for getting what they like. Can't begrudge the brands for giving those people what they like. Everybody get your life. That's totally fine. My problem is that aesthetic trickles down into the actual colors that they come up with for the actual makeup. And we end up with the worst washed out it's like, it's not rich enough to actually be called a coral. It's not cool tone enough to actually be called like a bubblegum or a Barbie pink. It's like this flat middle pink, the most blah makeup-y pink that you can possibly think of, that I despise. The color of the blush in this blush duo is that pink, the quintessential Neapolitan ice cream pink. It's like the worst pink, the plague on all of our houses, the pink plague. And I feel like all of the brands are coming up with this baby makeup packaging and then they're putting this plague pink. That's what I'm going to call it. Plague pink in all of their collections. And I'm not here for it. But is this a cream blush? It is a cream blush. Now I really wish that I liked the color better. Makeup Revolution has revealed something that looks very high end. I guess it's a concealer. The lightest shade looks like maybe it could work. The porcelain, maybe. Not mad at the sponge tip applicator. I've become someone who really loves the sponge tip applicator, especially on lip products. And I think that maybe it could work for me for complexion. Morphe has released a new foundation. Great. Yay. Awesome. New shades of Danessa Myricks Twin Flames, just like a multi-chrome liquid. And these look very glittery. Oh, the models, the pictures of the models. I'm going to put them up. Danessa Myricks' work is like my favorite. Just the vision, the talent. Oh, I just love it. I love it. But this has not gotten good reviews. I've seen a lot of people saying that it patches up. I haven't watched, or I haven't really like pursued a bunch of reviews. It's just what has trickled down to me and what I've seen people saying in the comments, that it seems like this formula isn't going over very well. So that's too bad, because I really like Danessa Myricks and I like everything I've ever tried from her. The MAC Black Cherry collection, this is very pretty. I like this. So they're doing like a sakura, like cherry blossom thing for spring, but they're calling it black cherry, which a black cherry is like a whole other thing. So it's like this depth combined with the idea of cherry blossoms. This is clever. It's clever. Okay, Mac. Okay, I see you. Fine. However, the cherry blossom, I feel like they should just put it away. They should shelve that because it reminds me indelibly of what a disaster it was the last time they did, I think, a collection with this theme was when they just had the overspray. It was like just like a plain white powder, matte powder with an overspray, and people thought it was a highlighter, and everyone was gooped and everybody was so mad about it. So it seems weird that they would like circle back to cherry blossoms yet again, and I feel like it's just going to cause traumatic memories. Look at this. Oh my gosh. These are the moments I live for when I'm browsing new makeup releases. Just as someone who's sensitive to beauty, when you're flipping through and you're like, yawn, boring, ugly, why? And then a slide like this comes up and you're like, thank you, Chantecaille, even though you're wildly expensive and I've never bought anything from you and probably never will. Thank you for having like an artist on your staff. Thank you for actually hiring people who are skilled at this. Like, look at this beautiful packaging. The eyeshadow, is that what it is? Butterfly Eye Quartet. They could probably use either a darker one, like a different one that's darker, or some darker shades in this one to provide depth. But I do get that it's supposed to be like iridescent, ethereal, like a butterfly's wing. Very pretty. I actually am not mad at the fact that the packaging doesn't match the interior here. It's a little bit of a bold move, but it's kind of working for me in this case. It's like the compact is a beautiful object in and of itself, and they took pains to make it something that would be really beautiful sitting on your vanity. And then separately from that, they chose 4 colors that would go in the interior. I feel like they've made a case for it with the way that it looks. It's not like they've promised one thing and delivered another. They've given you 4 shades and they've just given you a really, really pretty compact in addition. The lips look beautiful as well. I mean, this whole slide is it's just incredibly beautiful in the abstract, in isolation, and I love to see that. What is Kaja doing with this grainy thing? I don't know. The glosses in the tubes look really nice, but I don't know about this grainy thing in the pot. I feel like we would have been fine with just the glosses in the tubes. I've never really tried Kaja. It's a brand I've always wanted to review, but I feel like maybe I missed the boat. Like if I did a self-sponsored review of all Kaja, at this point people would be like, yawn, Kaja is so 2017. Why? This is another, okay, this is not quite Plague Pink, the pinks in the Dragon Beauty eyeshadow palette. Is that what this is? Yeah, the Fantasy Eyeshadow Palette Volume 3. But it's just so ugly. It's just, it's so unsubtle. Like the colors are so primary. We've got the bright white, we've got the bright pink, we've got this like shimmery mid pink, and then like pale shiny pink, and then the plain black. Like there's no subtlety to it. There's no, I mean, I was gonna say like there's no curation, there's no story being told. Obviously they picked colors and there's a color story being told, but it just, you could tell it with just marker. Like you could buy just some markers, like a set of markers, and you could just draw this and have the colors be accurate. And I don't want to be able to do that. I want you to give me something that has qualities that you can't just get from a pack of markers. I mean, I'm not saying you could do your eyeshadow with markers. Do you know what, does this make sense what I'm saying? I'm saying it's just like, it's uninspired. That's how I feel. I do like the weird chunky shape of the Dragon Beauty lip gloss packaging, but it doesn't mean I'm about to go out and buy one. Oh, NARS. I loved you for so many years. I actually do really like the packaging of this like three-dimensional NARS thing on the cover, but the colors inside, I feel like NARS was NARS for a long time, and that was beautiful. Like there was this golden age of NARS during which NARS was NARS, and we all loved it, and that was great, and I loved it. And then NARS became a parody of itself, and that was a whole thing. And there were like these eyeshadow palettes that were like, LOL, NARS is doing NARS, LOL. And that was fine at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like it's fine to do that for a little while. And then just when we all started getting tired of NARS being a parody of itself, I thought that maybe what they would do was wise up and like explode into a new direction. And we would all be like, NARS isn't NARS anymore, and we love it. But instead what they did was they became a parody of NARS. And unfortunately, I'm not here for that, and I don't know who is. I feel like the same thing happened to Anthropologie. Oh, there's a Little Mermaid, like Little Mermaid. You know, I've talked about this before. I don't really go in for IP-inspired makeup, but the Little Mermaid gets me every time. I'm not gonna look at this brush collection. I mean, not like I would buy it. It's just, it causes me to feel feelings, right? Just like the Little Mermaid is like deeply embedded in the history of my heart. Wait, I came across a different picture of ColourPop X Animal Crossing and it looks really shiny. In the other picture, it looked all matte. And in these pictures, it looks like there's a bunch of really shiny shadows and they look very, very beautiful. I think I'm gonna end here. Or no, I'm gonna quickly scroll through and see if there's anything huge down below that I haven't gotten to yet. But let this be a lesson to us all. The photography can be extremely misleading, and I'm not sure whether this is the misleading one or the other photography was misleading, but this looks like a collection that I would get a lot out of, and the other pictures looked like they were of a collection that I didn't want to ever think about again. So that's super weird. I wonder which one it actually is. I see I missed a ColourPop collection called Wild Child. That's like a very rich brownie. It's like really rich, sort of cool tone. That's one of the prettiest things I've seen today. This is very pretty. Okay, the shade in the center of the eyeshadow palette, that's like a really sparkly dark brown. I'd like to see more of that. Very, very dark brown as like a base color for beautiful other kinds of shifting pigments in eyeshadow. I like this a lot. This is nice. I like Wild Child way better than ColourPop X Animal Crossing. There's the slide on Trend Mood about the release of Auric, which is Samantha Ravndal's brand. I actually reviewed it. If you haven't seen that video and you're interested in Auric, I'll try to remember to link that down below. But you know, that was revealed, released. I bought it for review and reviewed it. All of that happened since I last filmed a new makeup releases. So, you know, I thought I might as well mention it. And I also see the slide for Angie's palette, which again, I also filmed this and reviewed it. That is coming up, so stay tuned to my channel for that. But I don't think there's anything else down here below that's like juicy that I really want to dig into talking about. Oh yeah, and scrolling, scrolling, I got down to that, the weird YSL, like the thing that looks like a toilet seat that the makeup is like customizable makeup, but really it's just 3 different colors of makeup that you can mix together however you want. Lipstick. All right, got down to that, which means we're back down to where I left off the last time I filmed a video like this. So that is it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you think of any of this. Did I miss anything? How's it been going while I haven't been paying attention to new releases? Thank you for spending this time with me, and don't forget to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.